I helped out with the costumes, I announced proudly as we headed towards the theatre. Really? That's great, said the woman as her boyfriend nodded and smiled. Yes, I sewed the fruit on the straw hats, I added with a laugh. They seemed impressed and followed me into the theatre full of praise. James waved me over to introduce me to the management and ticket takers, so I strolled over to say hello. Now you go take a seat and I'll catch you later, said James, waving me on. I soon found a seat in the middle row, and as I sat down, my two friends from the parking lot joined me. Hi again, I'm Andy, and this is my girlfriend Sue, said the guy reaching out his hand. Hi Andy and Sue, nice to meet you both again. I'm Della, I said as I shook their hands. Can't wait to see your costumes, said the girl, sounding thrilled. Yeah, me too, I answered back with a big smile, feeling quite chuffed by it all. Suddenly the lights dimmed and all went quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ay Caramba, said a loud voice from out of the blue. Latin rhythms started playing and the room was suddenly a mass of multicolored rays of light. The stage curtains slowly parted to reveal a vivid colored stage set full of giant flowers and palm trees with baskets of fruit everywhere. On top of the stage at either side were two small stairways on which suddenly appeared two groups of very colourfully dressed people. Oh my God, there they are, I thought to myself, as I realised that all the people on stage were wearing the straw hats, covered in the plastic fruit that I'd sewn on. That's the fruit I sewed on the hats, I whispered to my new friends excitedly. They both looked pleased for me and smiled and nodded in admiration. The actors sang loudly in Spanish to the Latin melodies and rhythms as they glided down the stairways towards the stage. At the crescendo of the song, they swiftly took off their hats and waved them at arm's length in glorious welcome to the audience. As they did this, the fruit started flying across the room, hitting people on their heads, in their faces, and on their bodies. People were ducking and diving and squealing in pain as the fruit missile shot out across the room. I cringed with shock and embarrassment as all my good work flew around the theatre, hitting cast, crew and audience members indiscriminately. I witnessed one elderly chap take a flying banana full on the chin. Oh my God, I thought to myself, wanting to sink down to the floor and crawl out of the theatre. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, I said, turning to my new friends with a look of horror and dismay on my face. They both burst out laughing, and I joined in, surrendering to the ludicrousness of it all. I looked to see where James was, and spotted him and Ralph sitting near the front of the theatre, seemingly trying to look as if nothing untoward was happening, although James's nervous blinking and Ralph's bowed head were slight giveaways. Once the fruit had settled about the place, the actors carried on as normal and went on to give a great performance full of wonderful colours, music and dance. At the end of the play, I wondered if James would still be speaking to me after the catastrophe. The audience applauded for what seemed like the millionth time, and the cast bowed for what seemed like the 10,000,000th time. The lights finally came on, and everybody started talking and standing up and milling about, looking very pleased with the show. Andy and Sue stood up, and with big grins and handshakes they wished me all the best as they headed towards the exit. I stood up feeling like I'd come down a peg or two since my previous proud entrance. I spotted James and Ralph chatting to some people near the stage and awkwardly went over to join them. Della, let me introduce you, announced James before rattling off a load of names and nodding over towards what I presumed to be a group of his theatre friends. This is Della, my darling assistant, although we did have a slight mishap earlier in the show, didn't we? Dare not to worry, all's well that ends well, said James, looking proudly at me, much to my relief.